Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Have you ever thought of homeschooling? Honestly, I did years ago, but I was a bit intimidated, so backed off from that idea. But today I have some lovely women who know what they're doing in the homeschooling world. So I'm so thankful to introduce you to them. But first of all, I want you to grab a cup of coffee, sit around the table, and just join in the conversation. Thanks so much for joining us. So to introduce, just introduce yourselves, where where you live and how long you've been homeschooling. So, Cheryl, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, my name is Cheryl Schlachter, and I had homeschooled a period of over 18 years. My children are grown now, and so I live in Northeast Ohio, and I also homeschooled other people's children. There was a couple opportunities for children to come, and one of them stayed for the year with us through homeschooling 4 days a week. So that's my experience with homeschooling.
Okay, thank you. Larissa.
I am in Manitoba, just north of Brandon. We farm and we have 8 children. Our oldest is 22 and the youngest is 7. So I've homeschooled for 18 years and I have security until 35.
Until 30 when?
2035.
2035.
Yeah.
Wow.
Our youngest is going into grade 2, so second
Okay.
grade.
Okay. That's great. And Jackie.
Yeah, thank you. So, Jackie Dighans, and I'm a mom of 10 children, and we live in Montana. We've always run our own businesses. We're self-employed, and I homeschooled for almost 20 years, probably, between 17 and 18 years. And then we switched 7 kids to the public school system for the last 7 years, and then it's looking like we're going back to homeschool again now. So
Okay.
yeah, we've done that.
So you've done a bit of both then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Jackie, how many are you homeschooling right now?
So we homeschooled one son last year for half of the year, and then we've got 4 more to bring home this year. So there'll be 5.
5 this year. I think it's
Yeah.
amazing when there's like that many grades that you're trying to organize. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Larissa, it
So
sounds like you're doing the same.
We'll have 5 this year as well.
5. Okay. Wow. Wow. And then Cheryl, you had other people's children. So that would have been an
Yeah.
interesting
Mhm.
Yeah,
add to
it,
the
it
mix.
was an interesting mix to bring them in. My children were 6 years apart. And so that's one of the original reasons why we decided to homeschool because there was 6 years difference. My daughter had waited for a baby brother and finally got that baby brother. And she was 6 years old, getting ready with a late birthday, getting ready to start kindergarten. So we started a preschool with her, and that's kind of how that evolved. Is that there was so much years between them than other people's children as they grew older, we were able to kind of incorporate them in. So yeah, it was real privileged getting to have other people's children in our home and getting to plant good things into them as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I have
yeah.
seen on social media where people are um like the grandparents will have cousins camp or something like that where they're
Hmm.
gathering the families together. I love that. That's just a way to build up memories in families too, which is what you ladies have been doing. Um, so I've got a couple of specific questions. Has it been a difficult process? Like just developing a routine? Um, I know I work from home, so easily distracted. So have you had difficulty with that? Keeping things interesting, the curriculum, all of the above. I guess that's more than one question, but who wants to open up this part of the discussion? Jackie.
I yeah, I will. I'd be glad to.
Yeah.
Um, no, I didn't find it really difficult. I'm a pretty organized person. I like routine. So that wasn't difficult to set up. I enjoyed making the lists and having a plan. and, you know, through the years had to learn to let go of the things that were happening outside of the plan. I think that's
Okay.
let go of not feeling like we were behind or it wasn't working just because someone wasn't cooperating that day, that we had to focus more on the obedience and, you know, training that way in character. Or if someone wasn't feeling well, that it took me more with that. I had to let go of that plan and trust the Lord that He was going to make it happen. And the one verse that the Lord brought to me early on was, and I even stand on that as the kids were in school. It's a verse in, I believe it's Isaiah. I don't have the exact reference, but all my children are taught of the Lord, and great is their peace. And so I stood on that as things would look all different. And instead of going to fear, like, oh, they're not getting what they need, or we missed this. No, they're all taught of the Lord, and I'm doing my best job. And yeah, just learning to trust God through that process.
That's good. That would give you peace as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep, for sure.
Larissa, what's your thoughts on that?
Has it been difficult? Yes and no, depending on the year and depending on the season. My passion is homeschooling, so I make it a daily priority. And like Jackie, I like those schedules and getting it all ready and everything. For us, start time in the morning has been different each year, depending on how many children I was teaching. But it was always my goal to be done by noon so that we have a life outside of academics and it didn't take over our lives.
Okay.
Sometimes when I had 7 in school, morning meant to from 7:45 until 1 or even 1:30. Now that I'm down to 5 students, I'm finding it much more relaxed in the morning. We might not start till 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we can still be done before 12. And so that's been really freeing after I graduated my first few. And then for many years, we alternated between baby year and toddler year. So 1 year I'd be pregnant and then have a baby, and we'd take a 4 to 6 week break from academics and slowly get back into it. And our school year would take longer. We'd be pretty much the full public school year from the beginning of September to the end of June. And then the next year would be a toddler year. So our year might not take quite so long, and we might be done early, but then we had many more daily interruptions as babies are learning to crawl and walk and all those kinds of things. So yeah, each year is different, and we learned to just like she said, accept those interruptions as part of God's plan for our day, and keep on moving forward. And if we don't get to something, save it for tomorrow, and that'll be the priority before we get into the next day of work. So learning to let go is a big thing.
Well, and like you both have said, it's not all academic. It's learning life skills and patience and building character in the kids as well. Yeah. Now you two are both in different countries, so this has been interesting as well. Larissa, you are on the board for homeschooling?
The Manitoba Association of Christian Homeschools, yes.
So how many families are in that? Are registered homeschoolers in Manitoba?
That's an excellent question. I don't know. I believe that our membership, or the number of attendees at last year's conference, was at least 500 families. But in the province of Manitoba, we have to notify at the beginning of September and send reports in June and January and June. It's just one page that we just have to let them know what we're doing, that kind of thing. But I was speaking to the liaisons who handle all that paperwork, and he said that we are over 6,000 homeschoolers in Manitoba this year.
So it's really jumped then.
Yeah, they were just over the 2,000 mark pre-COVID. We jumped up to 8, and now we're back settled around 6 now. So.
Okay,
but it's still growing.
Wow, that's really good. Jackie, what about you?
Okay.
How many homeschoolers would be in your state? Do you know?
I do not know. I know that it has grown. I've contacted the homeschool group in our area, and just so we can possibly be a part of that this year. And she said it has grown. I don't know the numbers at this point. yeah, I think definitely with all the changes in life and government and all the things that a lot of people are choosing that. And I know I appreciate the options, for the
Yeah.
last 7 years. Public school was the best place for our kids. And I'm thankful for what they learned there and the growth they had. But um, also thankful that, now when God's brought it back up again to bring them home, that is an option and it's a good option. And there's so much to teach our kids outside of that box, right? Outside of what they've learned there, there's so much life and other things to go over with them. So very thankful.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh, there she is. Let me see. In your areas, is there a supportive homeschooling community? So what would you say, Jackie?
Yeah, there is a homeschool group in our area. Um, our area is so small town, but we have a lot of outlying areas around us. So they would all gather toward this one as well. So it'll be interesting how big it is. But they meet once a month. They have classes at it's in a church that has some space, a gym, and some things like that. So that's where we'll be meeting. They have an art class, science. There's some sort of a Bible class, a PE class for some of the children. I think that basically covers it. So yeah, so they meet for probably the morning, I think is about how long they do that. And so it's really good to be involved in a group if you can. I know a lot of groups have changed and there's differences now in some ways that I've asked if I can check it out first before we commit, because I want to make sure it fits our family and what we're looking for. But also for us, what I found in our lives is that we are entrepreneurs. My husband's an entrepreneur. We've always had a business. So when we homeschooled the first group of children, we had a greenhouse landscape company. And that was a huge opportunity to get the kids involved in something besides just the bookwork school that we would do also in the morning. I think Larissa said they did that as well. But then they would have something, go work with their dad. We could go help in the greenhouse and learn different skills and things that way. And now also we have properties that we run. And so even this summer, the kids are involved in painting and helping with different fixing, maintenance, and different things that they're able to do, as well as just the home. We always got the kids involved in, I always think of homeschooling as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
We do everything. Like there's a time when we clean the house together, and everyone has chores to do. It's not just the sit down, you do the books. There's a place for that and a time, but it's also learning to live together well and keep the home up well and relating well is a big deal.
Home economics at home.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do home economics, right? You learn to cook, you learn to set the table or whatever it was, but sewing, carpentry, all that can be learned at home. Yeah. Larissa, what kind of supports do you see for your community and for your family?
My support network is multifaceted. I belong to Facebook groups for the specific curriculum we use. And then I also belong to Facebook groups for on a national level, chat or curriculum swap groups, at a provincial level, and then locally. So our local one is I can't remember which two states it was, New Hampshire and New Jersey combined is the area of our local Facebook group. And so there aren't a lot of in-person activities involved with that group, but there's getting to be more. And the more people that are joining, the more interest there is. And so we might not get a huge turnout because the distance is too great for people to attend, but the in-person is there as well as the online. But I've also learned that it's important for me to make my own support. For the past 2 years, we've been involved with 3 other families. We meet weekly, and the farthest apart of us live an hour from each other, and we host a month at a time. So I'll travel an hour away for a month, and then 50 minutes away for a month, and then I'll host for a month, kind of thing. But they're all families with 5 or more kids. And so we all get what homeschooling with a big family is like. And so that's been a very important network for all of us, especially myself, but also for our kids, because we all have big families. There's someone for everyone within that group. But we're also involved in a new group that's starting this fall, and the bulk of the kids will be grade age 4, 5 up through about age 12. So my teens won't attend that group, but the younger ones will now be forming local friendships. So this group is within 20 to 30 minutes of each other. We'll be forming local friendships with kids that they'll go through school together with. And so I think both of those are valuable to our family, but I've had to be involved in starting those. So we don't have in rural Manitoba co-ops where you can attend a class or pay someone else to teach your kids a class. They're all grassroots groups. So all the groups that are operating, you may choose to do a topic for a school year and provide a course per se, but oftentimes for us, the important thing about getting together is the fellowship. And so the one group will focus on physical activities and teaching a little bit of sports and all that kind of thing. And we may have other academics and crafts and those kinds of things. But the main importance of those groups for us is the fellowship and getting to know that you're not alone, you're in community. So there's lots of options.
That would be important for the kids to connect with, to have some friends at home. Yeah, for sure. So what would you see as the biggest benefit for actually homeschooling for your kids?
I came up with 4 main ones.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I could prioritize them. I started out with a few reasons why I wanted to homeschool, and every year I add more reasons to that. And like Jackie was saying, it is a lifestyle. But for me, individualized education. We've had kids with learning challenges. We've had one that's possibly gifted. We have kids with different personal interests and different learning styles, and I can adapt curriculum to fit their needs. And I have the freedom to choose a curriculum with a Christian worldview, which is huge for me. That is so important, that we not only provide the opposite of what the world will teach, but also that we give them both views and teach them why we believe what we believe. The second one I came up with was relationship. I don't have to send them away for the bulk of their day when they're happy and energetic, and get them when they're tired. Relationship mine with each of my children, all of us as a family, and hopefully their relationship with God will be hugely impacted by the fact that we homeschooled, by examples within our home of how we relate to each other and bring them to God, and by the curriculum choices we've made, and the gift of them being able to be themselves. They aren't faced every day with the culture of public schools, with bullying, with peer pressure, with agendas being forced on them by every interested party except for their parents. So they're allowed to have the time to discover who they are and also have friendships outside of that. It isn't that they're isolated, but that they have the time to be themselves. And that last one is time. And I asked my kids, the oldest 3 who have graduated, what they would say the biggest gift is, and 2 of them responded, and both of them fit into this topic. Because our schoolwork, our academics are done by noon, except for my teens who had the choice to sleep in and then work in the afternoon if they wish. The rest of our time is largely determined by them. What do they want to do? Yes, they have their chores and their activities they need to do and the things we've agreed to attend, but they can pursue what interests them. My second one said that the opportunity to pursue his own interests was huge for him. And my third said that his takeaway was that he could farm full time in the spring and the fall and then cram all his academics into the few winter months. That was a freedom for him. He's 18, but he's full partner with my husband in our farm now. So he's been farming for years.
Yeah. Wow. What would you say is the biggest benefit, Jackie?
As I was homeschooling, there was so much learning for me in it, which was huge. And one of the things that I realized as working with the kids, I was like, what am I doing here if I'm sitting there with them and they're not getting to read well, or like they're struggling through, and we're in tears, like I'm getting upset, they're upset, I'm like, what are we doing? And so God showed me in Joshua 1:8 where it says, do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, being careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. And so that got me on the path of, okay, I'm teaching my kids the word first. This is important here because it's not the academics that are going to make them successful, but it's teaching them the word and good relationships between myself and our kid, like the parents and the kids is a huge thing where they can be relaxed, they can know that they're accepted, that they're loved amongst the learning, and all of that is important. But if we're missing the relationship, and both with us and introducing them to God and being that example, like at one point I was like, my kids are only seeing me. How am I modeling Jesus to them? If I'm yelling, if I'm flying off the handle, if I'm angry, all of the things. And so that set me on a path as a parent of really watching what I'm modeling and displaying the fruits of the Spirit before them, just like walking it out daily in our home, as we're doing the schoolwork and, the academics, whatever we've decided is important to put before them. But teaching them the word and walking in it as parents is huge, for them to catch that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jackie, because you're the mom first, but then you put on the teacher hat, and then you are the adult that's in front of them all the time. So they have a takeaway from you're still mom first. So how you're presenting yourself is what they're going to remember. It doesn't matter what hat we're wearing,
Right, exactly.
And of course there's going to be bad days. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, there were harder days, more days of discipline and training in the character than getting schoolwork done. And you know what? That's okay. That's just
well, and that's how important. It would be for the that's how it would be for the mom. I'm not saying you, but like that, developing my character, wearing my teacher hat, developing my character. That's what happened today. Exactly. That was what happened in school for me today.
Yeah,
there would definitely be opportunities for everybody to learn. Yeah. Yeah. So what would be your encouragement for parents who are considering this? Now, Larissa, you're in Canada, Jackie, you're in the States. So I'm not sure what the difference would be in curriculum. Or Larissa, did you say there was a curriculum you're using that's being used in the States?
Yeah, the main curriculum we use from grades 4 to 10 is Heart of Dakota, which comes out of South Dakota. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm assuming, I don't know anything about this, so you're just going to have to teach me. So I'm assuming then that there's different curriculums for option.
Yeah,
There
there's a
are, yeah, there's dozens of curriculum in several different categories of styles of homeschooling. So there are curriculums that follow more of a public school layout with textbooks. There are curriculum styles that are unit studies. There are those that follow the Charlotte Mason method. There are those that choose from all across the board. We call them eclectic homeschoolers. There are those who do what we call unschooling, where they don't follow a formal curriculum, but they follow their children's interests and provide a lot of resources and opportunities for them. That one would be hard to do. I don't think I could do unschooling well, because I would not do well at finding out the resources my children need in areas I don't know about personally. And so I'm like a much more structured. The program we use has daily plans, and we follow those. And I'm able to adapt them for my different children's needs. So.
Okay, so daily plans would be certainly a huge benefit. Yeah. And what about you, Jackie? Have you done something like that as well? Daily.
Yeah, we used the curriculum that we used, and I'm not sure that I'm using that one this year. I'm still deciding exactly what it will look like, but it was called the ACE curriculum, where they have workbooks like what per month, where the kids could work through them easily and feel like they accomplished something, be able to put the one book aside and start a new one each month, basically. And I after homeschooling, previously, and graduating a few of our kids through, you just learn so much as to what worked, what was needed, what was most helpful. For sure, standing on teaching the word, getting the word in them, and modeling it before them. And then also with our own businesses, it's been so huge. Like a couple of our sons have redone whole trucks, in their last years of high school, which took them into researching a lot and learning, so depending on the student, I think you can get really creative as to what will work for them with their talents and needs and things like that. And so, one of our sons is working full-time, well, part-time with his dad. He's also got another job in the maintenance. He's built decks and learned how to build stairs. And, and that's just been in the last few months, just so much hands-on is amazing for them as well. It's actually real life there.
Yeah, well, it's an opportunity to learn the life skills, the occupation skills, the entrepreneurship, where it's their interests that are going to take them forward.
Right.
So,
yeah, and we try to, whatever we're doing, I like to try to take the kids with me, as many of them as I can. Like I help an elderly lady usually once a week or so, and I try to have one or two, my youngest two, who are 9 and 11 now, with me as much. I like to teach them the whole spectrum of life. It's not just about sitting here in front of books. It's not just about being out on the, in the field working, however, but it's loving people, and it's serving, and it's being kind to your sister, and all of the things are a huge part of our children's growth.
And it's all education, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to leave it there for now. I think that there's what you've been able to share is going to be great information for people who are interested, and there may be questions. So for people who are watching right now, if you have questions, just comment. Just leave a comment, and I'll get the questions directed to Jackie and Larissa. And it's been a fun time to learn more about this. It's a growing a growing opportunity for families, and it's just exciting, the doors that are opening for parents. It's a big commitment, and I really applaud you ladies for doing this and making a difference in your own community and your own families, and eventually it's long lasting in your families and the next generations. So thank you so much, and look forward to hearing more.
Thank
you
you.
for your ministry and for inviting us today.
Thanks for coming. And like I said, please share this with your friends, leave a comment, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye for now.